Hi, I'm Scott Lacey, registered fire protection engineer, former firefighter, and a former AHJ. In this video, we're going to discuss Section 1 administration of our Enhanced Rural Firewater Regulations. Other videos provide different topics on specific sections, including an introduction and overview of this regulation. It's important to recognize that this video is intended as an overview only, and it's based on the content at the time that this video was produced. So any of this is subject to change as we update the regulation. Please refer to the latest regulations for the current criteria. The administrative section is divided into several subsections: overview, exceptions and limitations, water supply general provisions, referenced codes and standards, terms and definitions, common values, access and locks, and maintenance. We're not going to touch on any of these in detail. We're just going to give you an overview and a summary so you can kind of see some of the material that's covered and basically where this regulation is headed and what it's trying to achieve. In the overview section, we want to emphasize that this document is intended to work with and support other documents. Many codes and standards were used to incorporate general criteria in to make this regulation. So we didn't just reinvent the wheel. In some cases, we did tweak some of the criteria to make it a little more user-friendly or flexible and more appropriate for the jurisdiction based on the AHJ input. This was done through the provisions of these other documents where they indicate to as directed by the AHJ or as determined by the AHJ. So that's the case where this regulation is intended to take the AHJ guidance and input and criteria for their jurisdictions and incorporate it into this regulation. Therefore, different jurisdictions can still make deviations. This is focused around El Paso County, Colorado right now. If other jurisdictions are using it, other counties, other states, different deviations to the regulation can be made to accommodate the needs of those jurisdictions. Throughout the document, you'll find bracketed and italicsed text that helps provide commentary to the various topics. This helps to clarify what the intent is or where you may or may not want to apply. There's also additional information in Appendix A to support different parts of the regulation or examples. Section 1.3 covers the water supply general provisions. So this incorporates some of the concepts that we took from NFPA 1142. And we took some of the general criteria for figuring out the water supply demands. However, we tried to simplify that in this regulation to make it a little easier for developments that may not know the exact volume and ceiling heights and attic slopes of a particular structure. Section 1.4 references some of the codes and standards that we used as guidance to create this. This helps you have a source of where you could turn to find additional information on something that needs to be clarified. Now in our terms and definitions sections, we've tried to make it a little more user-friendly for the individual homeowner as well as the AHJs to understand the intent. Often codes and standards are very blunt and short with the definition as a legal term, and that's it. So what we've tried to do is provide a little clarity as to what the intent is of that term or how it might apply with regards to this regulation. One of the things we did in this regulation is we got away from the word approved and we focused on the word accepted. This comes from training even at the National Fire Academy, where the jurisdictions should not be approving things in general. We accept. Approve means that you're approving the full conditions, the full detailed review of every possible condition. We don't do that. We do spot checks, whether it be plan review or inspections. We try to be thorough, but we're still spot checking, looking for the intent that they're complying with the code and the criteria. We want to make sure we keep the requirement that it's up to the owner, developer, and designer are 100% responsible for compliance with the regulation, not the AHJ. Again, we're doing spot checks, so this difference in wording is something it takes a little getting used to, but if you really think about and understand the concepts between the two, they're critical. Now in section 1.6, we provide some common values. It's always hard when you're trying to reference something and you remember, but you just can't remember exactly where it's at in the document. So what we did is just try to pull some of these common values of hose lays, the truck travel distance, some of this common stuff up into one section so you can find it just as a quick thing when you're doing plan reviews and inspections. Section 1.7 focuses on access and locks, and this would be gates, either locks on a gate or locks on a cistern, or protecting, tampering with fire protection equipment, but it helps to reinforce that fire department needs access to this. So we talk about criteria for the locks. We used keyed breakaway style locks. For those that do utilize Knox boxes or the realtor type box, we also have criteria for that within this. And then section 1.8 touches on maintenance. Section 15 goes into detail on maintenance of systems, but this section up here is basically to reference IFC 109 and general criteria of the IFC, including section 104, that gives the HJ access and permission to enter properties for inspections and such. Hopefully this helped you out. Again, it was quick to provide you a little overview of section 1. Watch for other videos that go into more detail on the other individual sections. Thank you for your time.